Hi everyone, this is Sharifa Tharpe from ST Law Office. I'm a U.S. immigration attorney and I am here to answer your immigration questions. So anything that you have that is immigration related, please go ahead and drop your questions. I would love to answer your questions and that's why I'm here. So go ahead and drop your questions in the comments right now. I usually come with a topic myself, and I would like to talk about applying for the green card without your U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse if they are refusing to apply for you. How to go about applying by yourself without them, because there is that option that is available. And I want to let you know that option is available even if you've been divorced, but you have to be divorced for less than 2 years. So I'm going to go over all the requirements if that is your situation. Now, you don't have to ask, your questions don't have to be related to what I'm talking about. It could be anything that you're going through, and I will still answer your question. So BTD 0410, how much is USCIS fee for US citizenship for 2021? So right now it's a total of $725. So it's $640 for the application itself and then $85 for the biometrics, the fingerprinting appointment. So $725 is what you should expect to pay for the citizenship. It hasn't increased, and so so it's still the old fee. Thank you for your question. Also, if you want to verify fees, because I always sometimes things may not be up to date. Fees are subject to change. BTD. Now, usually with fees, they have to go through a process to actually be updated. But I still like to tell you how you can verify the fees so that in the future you can verify it yourself. So it is, you go to USCIS.gov. And when you go to that site, you can, if you have a specific application that you know you're going to be submitting, so in this case the N400 for the citizenship application, you would go to forms. So I'm going to put it in the comments, and it's going to be under the immigration attorney. And so you go to forms. So once you go to that website, go to forms and select the form, the N400 form that will be for citizenship, and it will tell you the fee. That way, if it changes in the future, you'll know where to go to check. Casavedo, how to do a case inquiry for 601A waiver. Okay, so great question. So what you have to do is, now if you can first check the processing times, but if you go to the actual homepage, it's going to have a section that gives you the option to email them. So you're going to complete a form to email them about your case. So go to the homepage and look for that link. I believe it's case outside of processing time, or something, a link similar to that. Click on that link and then fill in your information. You'll have to have your case number, your name, your relevant information that's on the form. Submit that form. You can also call. So if you call the customer service line, you will get an information specialist. I'm trying to find, I always have the number on me, and I seem to have misplaced that number right now. But you would go ahead and call that the customer service. So if you go to USCIS.gov and you enter you look for the number, dial that number. It's a 1-800 number, and then it will actually, the information specialist can also help you. I am located in Florida, but I assist clients all over the country because we do have to file applications across state lines. So it really, I am authorized to represent clients all over the country. I just want to take a minute to say hello to those of you who come on every time that I am on. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for those of you who are new. I want to thank you for tuning in. So Urena, Jamaican Italian Kitchen, Raking, Casey 38397, Latoya Plus. It's nice to see you on here. Barb's Boutique. I believe I saw Heavenly Ice Angel. Hi there. It's nice to see you all. Nilan Jonah 006. When any person applies for citizenship in 400 February 2020, do you have any idea for the interview? So the interview, no. So right now it's it depends, because I've been hearing that citizenship, they're speeding up some of the cases. But before I experienced some of the accelerated cases myself, starting in January, so who probably has started to initiate the faster process. But before then, it was taking 12 months to 18 months to get U.S. citizenship. Now I'm seeing 6 months. And I believe someone on here told me 3 months. They applied in November and they're already set for the interview. So it seems like they're speeding up some of the citizenship applications. But I can tell you that before now it was 12 to 18 months, but you may get an interview notice soon, but it just depends on your particular circumstances, what's going on in your case. So I can't tell you a specific time. Another way you could get an idea of your specific time is if you go to the USCIS.gov website. I put it in the comments, and it's under the immigration lawyer profile name. If you go to that site and you go to case processing times, it's on the home page. If you scroll a little down, you'll see some links related to case inquiry, case processing times. Click on case processing times, and then wherever you are, choose the service center that's closest to you and see what their processing times look like, or you could choose the service center that is processing your application, or the service center that the field office that is close to you. It just depends, because what happens is first you send it to a service center, and then after a while, when it's time for the interview, they send it to a specific field office to schedule the interview. So it just depends on where it is now. So check the field office and check the service center and see what the processing times are, and then you can get an idea of when your interview date should be coming. Heavenly Ice Angel, can a person apply for work permit, and how can one go about doing it? So one can apply for a work permit, but they have to usually to get a work permit, you have to qualify in some way for a type of immigration benefit or relief. You can't just be here and and not qualify for anything and still apply for a work permit. So for example, if you qualify to apply for the green card while you're in the United States, that could be a way that you could apply for a work permit. If you're on withholding of removal, So say you went through the process and then the judge granted you what's called withholding of removal. It's like if something, if you're in danger, if you go back to your country, they will give you that relief. In that case, you get withholding of removal. If you apply for asylum, in the meantime, you can apply for a work permit. So it just depends on what you qualify for. If you would like to sit down with me and talk about your particular circumstances, you can give me a call at 561-405-4889. We can schedule a consultation and then sit down and talk about how you could possibly qualify for a work permit. BTD 0410. What is the form to renew the green card? So if you've had your 10-year green card and then it's time to renew it, it's going to be the I-90 form. If you are married if you got your green card through marriage and you got a conditional 2-year green card and it's time to renew it to a 10-year green card, it's going to be the I-751 form. Barb's Boutique 21. If I'm resident, can I apply for the visa for France? Yes. So usually if you are a permanent resident, it depends on that country's requirements. Because say I don't know which country you're from, but say you are Jamaican, you're welcome BTD. Say you're from Jamaica and France, in the case if France, you have to look, does France require Jamaicans to have a visa? If they don't, then and you have your Jamaican passport, then you could travel to France without your the visa. But if they require all Jamaicans to have the visa, then you would apply through, follow the France's instructions and apply for it, usually at the embassy. But follow the instructions to see what you need to do to get that visa from them. Because it's not, that's not U.S. immigration law. It would be more related to France's immigration law. But I do have some knowledge that, yes, if your country requires, so that your country of citizenship, they still require you to have a visa, then you have to apply to the you have to follow the France's instructions and get their visa. Nilan Jonah, if any person came married based visa and after 4 years they divorced, now can she remarry again? So if you obtained a green card through your spouse and then you got divorced, and after 4 years you got divorced, yes, you're free to remarry. Now, if you want to sponsor someone, else, then I believe that you may face more stringent, more scrutiny, because they observe that you were sponsored and now you're trying to sponsor someone else, and that sometimes raises the red flag for marriage fraud. So what they'll do is you have to show clear and convincing evidence that not only your current marriage that you're sponsoring this person through, the one you remarried, is real, but also your past marriage is real. You have to go in prepared for that. And I believe that's if you marry them within 5 years of getting your green card through someone else. So just keep that in mind. So it may get a little more complicated. You have to be approach with caution. But if you're not sponsoring anybody else and you just want to get remarried, you're free to do that. It's not going to affect your green card. And that's assuming you have the 10-year green card. Hi, I am Dave. I've been in ICE detention for about 4 years. I'm sorry. Can you say that number again? Thanks. Okay, so great. Yes, you're free to give me a call and let's talk about it. My number is 561-405-4889, and I'm sorry to hear about this, that you are in detention, definitely give me a call and let's see what we can do for you. Oh, so Barb's Boutique, so you're from Haiti. So I don't know if you need a visa to go to France. So I don't know where you what you can do is you can go to the Google the France's consulate or France's embassy, and then see if they have or getting a visa from France. I don't know if Haitians even need a visa, so that's another thing. So you'd have to ask, you'd have to refer to someone in France regarding their requirements. Okay, great. So keep the questions coming. Let me see if I missed anybody's questions. Okay, so yep, keep these questions coming. I would love to get your questions. I am here to answer your immigration questions. That is the sole reason that I'm here. I also like to bring a topic with me in case it's a topic that I think it's important for you to know about. And today I'm talking about how to apply for the green card on your own if you're a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse, parent, or even citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up refuses to apply for you. So in a case like that, what it implies, right, if your relative is refusing to apply for you, is that they are, using it as a way to control you. They're using your undocumented status against you. And so that if you are, my next question would be, are you being mistreated, right? And if you are being mistreated, I mean, it could be not just physical, but also emotional, verbally, even in regards to control. If they're using your status to control you, saying, well, I'm not going to file for that green card because you're going to leave me when I file for the green card, that can qualify you to apply for the green card on your own. So thank you, Fazila131, for sharing my live. I appreciate that. Barb's Boutique, you have another question. My fiance is in France, but he's have some problems over there. Can he come to the USA? So it depends on your status. So if you are, I believe based on what I'm hearing, you're probably a green card. I don't know if you're a green card holder, but if you're a green card holder, then you would have to get married and then apply for him to come here. And we're talking about him coming permanently. I don't know what his situation is in France, if he's a citizen of France, but if he's going to come here permanently, you would have to apply for his green card. And it just all depends. This question seems to be a little loaded because he says he has some problems over there. And so I would really want to dig a little deeper into what your situation is, what his situation is, what your status is, what his status is. So what you can do is give me a call at 561-405-4889. You can also visit my website. There's a number there that you can call, or you could sign up through the web form and we can get back to you to schedule a consultation. But, since he's having problems over there, these are the questions that I would have. Hi, Cruz Familia. Thanks for joining in. Good night. I think that's Iola. Good night. What the forms to use when applying for your wife green card? So it's usually the form I-130. But I always like to say that I want I don't now, generally speaking, it's you start with the I-130 petition, but it just depends. Does your wife qualify to apply in the United States? If they do, then it may require additional forms. But usually, generally, it's the I-130. And then I would really have to know what's going on. Where are you? What's going on to tell you other forms. But I don't want to tell you a specific form, and then I always advise get advice, legal advice, before submitting any forms, because you could require more forms just depending on what your situation is. Nilan, what is your suggestion for remarried again? Like I have to wait 5 years, or I have to. So in your case, I would not advise you specifically unless I meet with you in a consultation, because I have not evaluated the extent of your circumstances, who what's going on. Are you trying to are you divorced? Are you gonna remarry somebody else and file for their papers? So what I suggest you do is definitely give me a call at 561-405-4889. Schedule a consultation. The firm's receptionist will definitely get you on my calendar. And then in that consultation, we can talk about that and I can advise you accordingly. But with such limited information about what's going on, and without the ability to ask you the in-depth questions that I need to ask you, I would not be able to tell you what my suggestion is or what my advice is. But certainly I could talk to you in a consultation about that. Okay, so Barb's Boutique 21, you're a green card holder. So if you want him to come permanently to the United States, then he could qualify through you as a green card holder, because green card holders can sponsor their spouse. And I like to tell you right now, it's a good time to apply, because there's no wait period for the immigrant visa number right now. That can always change. The more people that apply is the more likely that there will be a wait list that develops. But right now, it's taking a shorter time to apply for your spouse as a green card holder, because there's no wait list for the visa number. Ayola, I think that's Aliolara. You are welcome. BTD, my mother never took any school. She has plans to apply for citizenship. She got problems with her handwriting. You're welcome, Barb's Boutique, and thank you for the compliment. Okay, so with the handwriting, so if she, so your mom, okay, so in a case like that, what I do is I evaluate all the circumstances of my clients. And so if your mom has some sort of long-term disability, it could be maybe a learning disability or something that prevented her from finishing school, or a long-term illness, that she could qualify for exemption from the test. That could be one way. But if she doesn't qualify for anything, and it's just that, for example, she never finished school, in that case, she would have to, I've had clients that actually they learn to read and write, and then they go do the citizenship test, and they do fine. So it all depends on the circumstances and whether your mother qualifies for an exemption from the test. It's usually based on a long-term disability. That long-term disability usually has to be over 12 months. And in that case, we could go from there. You can always give my office a call at 561-405-4889, and I can talk to you about whether they qualify. So user 48086. Dave, again, my story is on Democracy Now! Just put my name, Dave Pierre. Okay. I will check it out. I'm curious. Sexy Tommy. Fazila, thanks for sharing my live again. Hi, Sexy Tommy. It's nice to see you again. Okay, great. Keep the questions coming, please. I really enjoy answering your questions, and I know if you're thinking about going through the immigration process or you're currently going through the immigration process, you definitely have those nagging questions. Nilan, you're welcome. So Sexy Tommy, any good news for me? Unfortunately, I don't have any updates today. Everything is the same. But I'll definitely come on and I will definitely update you. I will be one of the first to come on here and yell out loud that something great has happened, a change has happened, and you can apply for the green card. But for now, nothing new. Okay, so Garth Williams, let me see. I see you said, can the green card holder file for you? Yes, so green card holders can file for their spouse, their child under 21 and unmarried, or their unmarried son or daughter who's 21 and up. So green card holders cannot sponsor their parents, and they cannot sponsor married children or married sons or daughters who's over 21. So I just want to note that. So sometimes the comments are delayed, so please forgive me if I take a while to get to your question. So what is LPI? Not sure. Can you clarify, Sexy Tommy, because I'm not sure what the LPI. I don't know if I'm the one that mentioned it, but I'm kind of blanking out on LPI right now. Okay, so I know legal permanent resident. That's something we use LPR, but LPI, I'm blanking on that one. So if you want to clarify where you heard that, then I can. So LPR. Maybe I said LPR, which means a green card holder. But if that's not what I said, then you can clarify where you heard that from. So Ayola, how long does it take to get your green card now? It depends. So it depends on who is applying for you. If a U.S. citizen is applying for you and you qualify as an immediate relative, an immediate relative is usually the spouse, the child who's under 21 and unmarried, or the parent of a U.S. citizen. That's taking, I can safely say, about 2 years. Could be less, could be a little more, but I would say that 2 years is a safe bet. Should be prepared for a 2-year process, but it could be less. I've had as little as 9 months, and then I've had as long as 2 years, almost 2 years. So, Heavenly Ice Angel, how would I know if I am qualified to apply? Well, exactly. That is where I have my consultations. Is if you usually when you're dealing with family-based immigration, there's a there are a number of ways to qualify through your U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse. So that is one way, through a spouse, or if your child who is 21 and up and a U.S. citizen, then you could qualify through them. If you have a U.S. citizen sibling, you could qualify through them. But I also offer my consultations where I can sit down and evaluate, because there's also humanitarian. So there's also the humanitarian, right? So if you've been the victim of a crime, if you've been the victim of trafficking, which I always say, when we think about trafficking, you need to be open-minded. Trafficking doesn't mean that you're being necessarily means that you're being held in a basement somewhere. I mean, that definitely qualifies, but it could also mean that you were defrauded into coming here and doing work that you didn't think you had to do, or do acts against your will. So if you're the victim of trafficking, if you're the victim of a crime, so crimes like domestic violence could qualify, assault, battery could qualify for the U visa. So if you're afraid to return to your home country, because if you are a part of a group of people that are being threatened in your country, then that could be a way. So there are so many ways that you could potentially qualify, but I would have to evaluate your particular circumstances to determine what you qualify for. So that G35X, are there any updates on amnesty? So not right now. There are no updates. The last I spoke about maybe 3 days ago. Time is just flying by. I can't even remember, but I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. It was introduced to Congress, and in summary, it's all undocumented immigrants would have a chance to see if they qualify for this DACA. So in this case, you would have 5 years of temporary status if you completed a background check, if you paid your taxes or complied with tax law, if you were willing to register. And then after that, for 3 years, you would get a green card. And then after those 3 years of being on the green card, you could apply for citizenship. So an 8-year path to citizenship. For DACA recipients, TPS, and for farm workers, undocumented farm workers, they immediately could apply for the green card. And then once they are 3 years on the green card, they could apply for citizenship. So they have a shorter path to citizenship. They are looking at increasing visa quotas for employment-based visas to prevent the backlog, improve the asylum system that's currently backlogged as well, and to increase the number of visas for victims of crimes, and from 10,000 a year to 30,000 a year to also alleviate the backlog. So that is a summary of the major parts of that bill. But keep in mind that it is not law. It has not been passed, and it has to go through the congressional decision-making process before it actually becomes law. And as we all know, that politics will get involved. People are not going to agree. Some people aren't going to agree, and so there's going to be things that may be taken out, things that put in. It may be divided into smaller pieces. So maybe the DACA piece may go forward first, because I think there's a broader support for the DACA recipients to get a path to citizenship. So I think if they decide to break things up into pieces, the DACA may go first, and they may introduce other smaller bills. So we'll have to see. I definitely think something will pass. It's just we don't know how it's going to look at the point that it does pass. Does this law, so user 957, does this law will pass if they don't have 60 votes in the Senate? So exactly, so they have to have a majority. Now, the thing about this is that to have a majority, they have to, and not 60, because in the Senate, it's a 50-50, right? It's 100. And they have ways to, overcome any kind of, so they have the tiebreaker. So if there's, if it's a tie, then Kamala Harris can come in and break the tie. However, keep in mind that not all Democrats support this bill the way that we think, right? It's even a little controversial within the Democratic Party. And so not all Democrats are on board. So, if they may negotiate to the point where all Democrats get on board, but right now, it seems as if even some Democrats are like, I don't know about amnesty for all 11 million undocumented immigrants. To me, I'm like, why not? Why not? But for many, they can't see it. They can't relate to it. And so if they don't have their support, then it could be a big problem. Sexy Tommy one. They said it was all like it is for non-immigrants. They said it's for it's created so at this time it is just for not just non-immigrants. So it's not for mainly for non-immigrants. It is to solve the problem related to undocumented immigrants living, working in the United States and not getting the credit that they deserve because they're here. So many of them are paying taxes, but still they still have to live in the shadows and they don't get that credit. So it's mainly for individuals who have been in the United States on or before January 1st, 2021. So it's not necessarily for people who want to come and visit or anything like that. It does look at how to unify families, how to reduce the backlog for people that are waiting to come to immigrate to the United States, but not, and that includes employment-based visas, which can be non-immigrant, meaning temporary employment-based visas. But it doesn't, it's not something that is there for, say, B visa applicants. So let's see. Hi, one user 6. So let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. Okay, can you check it out for me? So I'll definitely keep you updated. If you would like individual advice about what you qualify for, then you'd have to schedule a consultation. But I'll definitely keep you updated in regards to the bill. And if I see anything that is non-immigrant related, I'll let you know. But for right now, it's not for that purpose. That G35X with amnesty, can you still go back to your country? I was told you can. So I would have to look at the text to see what that's going to involve, because if the temporary status, so that temporary status that they will provide for 5 years, if it becomes law, may require you to stay here, but at the same time, it may allow you to have a travel document where you can go in and out of the country. So I will have to read the text to see what exactly is in there and what the restrictions are. But usually when you get some sort of status, like temporary status like that, you can apply for a travel document that will allow you to go in and out of the country if necessary. So let's see, I saw Cruz Familia. Okay, so when Nilan Jonah, when I apply for N400, mistake to put eye color, put black, it's supposed to be brown. Any problem? So I wouldn't say that's a huge problem. But what will happen usually is when you go to the interview, you can definitely make note. The officer is going to go through the application, and you can make note to the officer that there was a mistake on your application and you put black instead of brown. And the officer will definitely go ahead and make the changes, because the officer themselves, they go through the application, verify, they'll ask you things like your address, your social security number. So I wouldn't say that's a huge problem. But if you have any doubts at all, definitely get legal advice about how you should go about it. So for example, if it's going to be something like, your previous marriages, your children, not including them in the application, maybe discrepancies between your citizenship application and your green card application, you definitely would want to address those issues. So it just depends. But if something like you accidentally put black instead of brown, you could let the officer know, and they would correct it at the interview. My lawyer told major laws needs 60 votes. Is that true, or it needs only simple majority as you told? So in this case, it is a major law, but it's not anything special outside of other types of laws. So it is going to just go by the regular protocol. So Sexy Tommy 1, they said it is for non-immigrants. I believe we talked about that already. With amnesty, can you still go back to your country? And we talked about that. And then Cruz Familia, I heard that in the proposed immigration bill, there's a proposal to remove 601A. Yes. So that is one of my favorite parts of the bill, is that they would remove that 3 or 10-year bar. Now, it is not law, it's proposed, so it could always be taken out. But they did put in there that they would remove that bar so that people would not have to face this, the problem of that 3 to 10-year bar. So it prevents them from leaving to complete the green card process. So that would be amazing. It's one of my favorite parts of the bill, and I hope it does pass, because it has been so damaging to so many families. One user 6 for interviews. So let's see. Officer asking questions, USA citizen spouse for marriage. So let's see. So Heavenly Ice Angel, what if you have nothing to return to the officer asking questions, USA citizen spouse for marriage? So so the officer is asking questions, US marriage based for interviews. One user 6, I think the question seems a little choppy. So can you retype that question, because I'm not getting it. The office, or I think some of your comments didn't come through, some of your questions. So you can go ahead and retype that. So, and same, Heavenly Ice Angel is the same thing. I don't see. The officer is asking questions, USA spouse based marriage. What if you have nothing to return to? Okay, so Heavenly Ice Angel. So what if you have nothing to return to? Yes, and that is the situation for so many immigrants, that they've been here so long. And that's kind of a part of why, so if we're talking about qualifying for a waiver, sometimes that does count in a waiver. So, but on a whole, it's not, right now, it's really not a reason under immigration law to say you can stay, or you can get a work permit. Unfortunately, they still require you to qualify in some way through family, through humanitarian means like asylum. But just saying that you don't have anywhere to go if you have to go back to your country, unfortunately, is not enough in a lot of the cases. And I guess that's why this bill is so important, is that it acknowledges that undocumented immigrants are here, they've made a life here, but yet they have no way to become permanent residents. And so it's providing an avenue for them. So, user 48086. So I'm in Eastern time zone. So I did, but no one gets back to me. So I know my phone line was down, Sexy Tommy, for a while, and I did issue the new phone number. So, but my phone number is back, and you can try again. Give us a call, because I know we do get back to everyone usually, and I don't know if you slipped through the cracks. So definitely give us a call back, and we, the firm's receptionist will definitely work things out with you. So, yes, so one user 6, the officer will ask U.S. citizen spouse questions. They're going to, and in some cases, if they feel that it's necessary, they'll even separate you if they want to make sure you both are consistent and you both know each other. So it's very important to prepare for that final interview. They will ask you things like, what is the color of your curtains in your bedroom, to see if you both answer. They'll ask you, what is your wife's favorite meal? And then they'll go and ask, and I don't know, one user 6, it may be your husband or your wife, but your spouses. They may ask, what is your spouse's favorite meal? And then they'll go to your spouse and say, what is your favorite meal? And see if it's consistent. Sometimes, so I've seen interviews like that, and I've seen interviews where it went very smoothly and they didn't get separated, and everything was pleasant and nice, and everything went well. So it's and usually in the case where everything went well and nobody was separated, it's because they prepared, they knew each other, they made sure to know each other before going in there. So yes, they will ask your U.S. citizen spouse questions about you, just to see if the both of you are on the same page. Okay, so sometimes it's delayed. The questions are delayed, so I am waiting to see what other questions. Thank you for all of your questions. And okay, so here we go. One user 6, you're welcome as usual, and thank you for always tuning in. Charil Addison. Thanks for tuning in. My score is 216, 1-year diploma, 3-year experience as lab technician. What are my options? So in this case, if there's an employer that's willing to apply for you based on your lab technician qualifications, and in a case like this, it would probably be based on either skilled labor or maybe even unskilled labor. But it just depends on what the employer needs and what you qualify for based on the needs of the employer. So it's a little difficult to tell you based on what you've told me here, what you qualify for, but you may have options, but it depends on what field you're being hired in, who's hiring you. What does the employer need? Can the employer prove that nobody in the United States can do what you do? Because sometimes in your case, there's what's called a labor certification that's required. It's likely they'll require it of you. And to get the green card, of course. If you're getting a temporary visa, that would be another thing. Do you qualify for a temporary employment visa? So it just depends, and definitely with this, I would require a consultation to advise, because and you would probably need to have an employer lined up, because without an employer, it's still hard to tell you what your options are for a visa or a green card. Thank you for sharing my live, Chocolate 3185. So thank you for all your questions, and keep them coming. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions, and these are great questions. I always love to close out the night with you, and I try to come on here daily. So if you're not following me, you can go ahead and follow me, and thanks OneUser6 for sharing my live. Follow me. And the minute I go live, you will get notification, and you can come on and ask any immigration related questions that you want. That is my purpose, is to be here to answer your questions, because I know it can be really small questions that just nag at you, that keep you up at night, that I can possibly help you with. And if I can't help you with that question, if it's not simple, if it's not a simple question I can answer, that's surely a sign that you need legal advice. If I am saying that, well, it depends, if I say things like it depends, or it's a little more complicated than that, then that's a sign that you need to talk to someone to get accurate legal advice before to complete the process, or to go ahead and apply for the immigration benefit you're considering. So for those of you who don't know, I am a U.S. immigration attorney. I am Sharifa Tharpe. I work at ST Law Office. You can go to my profile, so the link in my bio, and you would be able to access the website and learn more about my website, more about me, what I've done, the cases I take, and basically my goal as an immigration attorney. So you can go ahead and do that. Follow me, so that the minute you see I'm online, ask your questions. So I came with a topic, and that was how to apply for the green card on your own if you're a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse or parent, or your citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up, they're refusing to apply for you. And the first thing I would say is, are they refusing to apply for you because they would like to use your undocumented status against you? Maybe they're mistreating you, and in that case, I would definitely want to talk to you, because you could qualify to apply on your own. You don't have to wait around for them to apply. And the next thing I like to say is, mistreatment doesn't have to involve physical harm. It doesn't have to involve a police report or a restraining order or medical documents showing injuries. There are other ways to compile the evidence you need to show that there is mistreatment. So for example, if your spouse is verbally abusive, I know hardly anybody calls the police about a verbally abusive spouse or parent, right? So in that case, the officers that do evaluate the application, they know that. And so what they do is they evaluate your statements. They evaluate maybe statements submitted on your behalf from other people who have witnessed this verbal abuse. They evaluate the psychological exam that goes along with with your application to talk about what you went through. So keep that in mind, that mistreatment is not just limited to physical violence. There are other forms of mistreatment or abuse, and that can be verbal, emotional, or financial. So if your spouse is trying to financially restrict you, if they don't want you working, or they limit the amount of money you have, or if they say things like, I don't want you, I'm not going to apply for the green card because the minute I apply for you, you're going to leave me. These are things that they will say, and it's an evident based on that statement that they're trying to control you. And that's a form of mistreatment. That's not permissible, and that can qualify you to apply on your own. Now, you don't have to be separated from the person to apply for this. And it's very confidential. They don't have to know that you're applying. Unless you tell them, they will not know, because they're very strict. The immigration officers are very strict about maintaining the confidence of the applicant. They're not allowed to disclose it. They're not allowed to call your spouse or your parent or your son or daughter and tell them, hey, do you know that your relative is applying based on your mistreatment of them? They're not allowed to do that. They have to just evaluate the evidence that's in front of them. And that is why it's important. I help my clients to put together a good application, a good convincing application, to be able to get the green card on your own should you be experiencing this mistreatment. Now, what are the benefits of this? If you have to apply on your own, the benefits of this is that you can apply for it while you're in the United States. Even if you came into the country without any papers, there's a way to overcome that. If you overstayed your visa, that's okay. That doesn't go against you. If you can get a work permit while the process is pending, your children, in some cases, your children can be included. Even if they're in another country, they could be included in the application as well. So these are some of the benefits that go along with it, and it's meant to facilitate the green card process for an individual who is being mistreated, or it's very hard because your relative will not cooperate or won't apply with you. You can also switch. So if your spouse, your parent, or your child has applied for you, but they've been mistreating you, they're not dependable in the green card process, then you can also still change it and apply on your own. It's in cases usually where they will sabotage your green card process, they won't finish it for you, then you have some relief there as well. So that, in a nutshell, is how you can apply on your own without your spouse or your son or daughter 21 and up, or your parent. Another thing is, if you are being mistreated by a parent, a U.S. citizen or green card holder parent, then you have up until you turn 25. So as long as you're under 25, you can still apply for this. Even though you're not a child, if you experience abuse going from underage to into your 20s, you can apply for this relief as well. If your son or daughter who's 21 or up, if they were 18 years old, they've been mistreating you as their parent, and you can apply. Once they turn 21, you can apply for the green card on your own. So these are, it's some of the benefits that definitely facilitates an easier process if you are going through mistreatment or a relative is refusing to file for you, or they're keeping you undocumented. Chloe Brown 032, how long will it take for a citizen to file for a child over 21, unmarried, and living in the U.S.? So, in this case, if you are a citizen, and child over 21, so right now it's taking about 6.5 years. Hopefully, there will be a reduction in the backlog, and that's a part of that bill right now. But in addition to this, I want to tell you, since your child is over 21 and unmarried, they're living in the United States, they also have to apply for what's called an unlawful presence waiver, unless they make changes in the law. Because they're living here without their status, they don't qualify to stay in the United States and apply for the green card. But there's a tricky part, right? If they leave the United States, then if they leave the United States, they get barred for 10 years if they've been living without status for over a year. So they cannot leave the United States. They have no choice but to apply for what's called the I-601A unlawful presence waiver. And that will, you can apply for it. So as their U.S. citizen parent, they will apply for this waiver based on your extreme hardship if they are not allowed to come back to the United States. But you have, once that I-130 petition, so you file the I-130 petition first. Once it's approved, you get it. You attach it to what's called this waiver, which is basically saying, asking for forgiveness for living in the U.S. without papers. Then if it's approved, then your son or daughter who's 21 or old and unmarried can take that approved waiver and go to their home country to complete the process. But right here, they have quite a long wait. So it can get a little more complicated and inconvenient. So get the strap 3. Thank you for following me. And Chloe Brown 032, thanks for following me. If you would like further legal advice regarding the unlawful presence waiver, which is right now as the law stands, it's going to be necessary, give me a call at 561-405-4889 and we can talk more about your situation. So Feli AM, can a 10 green card holder file divorce before citizenship? So yes, you can. But if you file for divorce before your 3-year anniversary, then you could not apply for citizenship within the 3 years. You would have to apply for citizenship after 4 years and 9 months, so approaching the 5-year mark. Tommy Go Getter, thank you for sharing my life. I appreciate that. Jamaica Devon, it's nice to see you here. So great questions. I am waiting on more questions to come in, and in the meantime, I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. So thank you all for those of you who are joining the live right now. I do appreciate it, and for anybody who's just coming on, if you don't know me, I am Attorney Tharpe. I'm a U.S. immigration attorney, and I help clients to get their green card. You can go to the link in my bio to go to the website. You'll find the number there. My number is 561-405-4889. If you would like to meet with me and to get personal legal advice about your circumstances, go ahead and call that number, and the firm's receptionist will get you on my schedule. Even though I'm based in Florida, I represent clients all over the country, and I am authorized to do that because immigration law is federal, meaning we work across the state lines. So go ahead, and because of that, I also do phone, video, and in-person consultations if you're around the corner, just to facilitate my clientele who's all over the country. So Feli what about a wife who claims she's abused but has no proof? So in that case, and that is very common, believe it or not, because there are other forms of abuse, right? There's verbal and emotional, And in that case, there are other forms of evidence. So, and that's exactly where I help my clients. So there is what's called a declaration, and it's basically a detailed statement that's drafted in a specific format. And then there's the other individuals who can possibly attest to this by writing their own witness statements. There are also in some cases a psychological report, and I do arrange that as well for my clients to meet with a psychologist to talk about what you went through and why that amounts to abuse. So there are ways to do this. If you're going through this, give me a call. That's the area I focus on. So give me a call and we can get started. You're welcome, Feliam. Now my number is 561-405-4889. Tommy Go Getter, thanks again for sharing my live. Chloe Brown, you're welcome. So I am going to close out for the night. It's always nice to close out the night with you. Follow me. I see that some people have followed me already, like LaserCom1. Thank you for following me. You will see the many videos I post. You'll learn a lot from what I post, and then you can also always meet me on live. I try to come on daily to answer your questions, and I come with updates, especially with the new bill that has been proposed. So if you follow me, you could possibly get this as well. So once again, thank you for joining me. If I missed your question, please know that this is not on purpose, and it's just that it didn't come across this time. But hold on to your questions, and when I go live, you can hop on and ask your question again. All right, have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.